To begin with, I'm Kyle. Some of you know me from previous instantiations of this conference as various talk presenter and so forth. I'm going to put on my collaboration hat today and talk a little bit about trying to get collaboration amongst all the enterprises that are here. Maureen and I will talk a little bit about how to try to make collaboration work, and then we're actually going to practice it here for the last at least half hour, if not a little longer. Jesse, I guess I'll be advancing it. Yeah, can you do that for me? So a little bit on workshop outline. Intros, we've already dealt with a lot of intros. I will ask Maureen to introduce herself after this briefly. Talk about challenges, try to discuss cooperating for stability, which I think is a great term that Maureen's read in. We talk a lot about sustainability, and now we need to talk about financial and social stability in this industry, because we need to be stable and continue to work together. And then what can cooperation look like? That's where we'd like to break you out into some small groups. We have some potential topics. People may want to bring some more topics in. And go ahead, advance. And I'd like to talk a little bit about craft brewing. We talk about home brewing. We talk about the things that have led to a lot of you being here today. And I'd like to read something that really struck me. I've got it on this. So by the end of the decade, the beer industry had consolidated to only 44 brewing companies. Industry experts predicted that soon there would only be 5 brewing companies in the United States. At the same time, the American brewing landscape was shrinking in taste and size. A grassroots homebrewing culture emerged. The homebrewing hobby began to thrive because the only way a person in the United States could experience the beer traditions, styles, and of other countries was to make beer themselves. These homebrewing roots gave birth to what we now call the craft brewing industry. The number of craft brewers has gone from 8 in 1980 to 537 in 1994 to over 1,600 in 2010. Craft brewers operate in 344 congressional districts, and the majority of Americans live within 10 miles of a brewery. What does that sound like? What could we do? Yes. Happily drunk. No. But I think this is an important thing to start thinking about. In discussions I've heard is, how do we separate ourselves from a commodity? What do we think about in terms of what we bring to biodiesel? You had a hand up?
No.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. So in talking about cooperation, we need to think about the small local cooperation, but also what I've been thinking about, and one of the reasons I jettisoned my talk about history was because I wanted to talk about how we all cooperate on a much larger level as well. And one of the opportunities we have here is a bunch of brains in the room to talk about that. So I'd like to turn this time over to you to start working on that. Maureen, would you like to talk a little bit about some of the things that you were talking about? The next piece, I'll ask everyone briefly while Maureen's coming up to take a piece of note paper and write down all of the challenges, some of the challenges you have had as a home brewer, as a biodiesel advocate, as a business owner. Just get them down so you can start thinking about that, because I'm going to ask you to sort yourselves into some groups that might start solving some of these rather than just bringing up the problems. So please write down some of the challenges you've had. Can you get that? Any challenges you've had, just momentarily. Take a minute. That's it. Let's get the challenges out and gone. Maureen, if you can jump up after this minute's over. I'm going to time it. Fast. Everything you've run into. This is like the depressing minute of our presentation. Okay. I'll ask you to stop with the challenges now and start thinking about solutions. Maureen will tell us a little bit about some of the solutions she's seeing.
I think that the word consolidation is a dirty word in this room. I think the notion of being large corporations and coming together into one entity is a horrible thought to most people in this room, because we believe in small scale and we believe in local. But we also are faced with the challenges of going up against the big guys, or just being able to make a decent living for your family. So when I'm out in community with small businesses, what I find a lot of times is that there's this great passion for doing something wonderful for the community or for the environment, and we're technical experts about our environmental technology or what we can deliver to the community. And we just think everybody should get that, and everybody should come buy biofuel or buy my hemp t-shirts or whatever it is. But what we forget is that we still need to run a business. And that means we need these other core competencies like marketing and sales development. We need cash flow management, all these things that we really don't want to waste time on. And I see this over and over again in community. So what I've seen some of the successful businesses do is that they cooperate with other businesses. So they don't necessarily have to own all those competencies, but they can share them with others. And I just had the great privilege of Van City sent a group of us to Italy to study the cooperative movement over there, because they have thousands, literally thousands of worker co-ops in this region of Italy. A lot of them are family-based, very small, less than 10 employees, some less than 20. What region is that? In Emilia-Romagna, in the north. And yet they cooperate amongst the cooperatives so that they can have these economies of scale while still remaining small organizations. So what I saw a few times I thought was really interesting was these consortia of cooperatives where they actually outsource the marketing. Or if they need to go to a bank for financing, they'll actually can go to this, this agency that supports cooperatives, and they'll help them work on their business plan and then go to the bank with them so they can actually have that voice that understands how to ask for financing. So it's the notion, I know the last group was talking about having this online forum to share and communicate. I think there's also another opportunity to come together to have some strength when you share or outsource some of the services and activities. I think groups like, you'll hear more tomorrow from Luke from Vancouver Recycling Alternative. They've had the benefit of partnering with a sort of a maternal organization when they work with recycling alternatives. So they're the little co-op that partnered with a for-profit business that lends them some of their infrastructure and resources. Likewise, the folks here at Cowichan have had the good fortune, as you'll hear more about, partnering with the municipalities so that they don't have to take on some of the expenses. So who are those partners that you can find to strengthen your organization both formally and informally? And I think a key thing that Kyle wants you all to talk about is how you as a group can find ways to collaborate and pull out opportunities. So I'll leave it there.
And so with this, one of the things we started asking ourselves is, what are some of the areas that we might start talking about this and might start working with everyone here on? And one of the opportunities that we thought we might do is open it up to people to come up with solutions around some of these. And just in our brief brainstorm, one of the things we looked at was, what about a marketing and member customer engagement group, a managing sales and billing group, feedstock collection and distribution, which Dara has already thankfully started for us and may continue this hour, since there seemed to be a lot of work around that still. Internal communication among our groups, which I'm very supportive of figuring out new platforms, new ways of communicating, because we all know that infopop is only so useful. A broadcast media may not be necessarily the best way to communicate. And then an umbrella organization. We heard some discussion of lobbying, policy guidelines, education, actually coming up with uniform branding that our trade organization was supposed to help do, but we don't seem to quite fit into that box. So other things that folks might come up with as potential, I certainly would entertain, but I'd love to start with this, and there are enough people in the room we probably could have between probably 7, 8 groups. I'd like to have between 5 to 7 people that are willing to jump into each group. So do I have, Dara, would you like to continue the feedstock collection distribution discussion in a smaller group?
I mean, sure.
I think there are probably a number of people that would love to jump in. I am going to jump on the internal communication amongst groups, managing sales and billing, we probably need someone for, and Maureen's going to do marketing and member customer engagement.
Luke's gonna do the sales and billing.
Sales and billing, so Luke, we've got Luke for sales and billing. We're gonna split up into different areas of the room, and we've got some materials here for brainstorming. My suggestion for actually working on this is to start with 5 minutes of brainstorming, just getting down all the ideas you can think of for whatever particular topic you're in.
You want to go to groups?
Absolutely. What are we talking about?
I'd like to see quality assurance.
Oh, I don't know the pen over here. Thank you. Q, quality assurance.
Quality assurance and technical challenges.
Okay. That's a huge group, I will say. And
No, that's one. That's two groups.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll call that.
So I just want to clarify, I guess the intention wasn't to solve the problems today.
Yeah.
It was to talk about how we might create collaboration, so in the future, we can help each other in these areas of competency.
So what we want to do is start creating cores of people that can start working on these things, but we're not going to solve all of these problems today, right? Other things that folks feel like they need to address that would need some other kind of communication or something that is its own entity. Other items?
I said like a legal group.
Legal.
Legal and liability.
Brian, maybe regulatory?
Yeah, we're challenges, or we.
They'll be under.
Yeah,
Policy guidelines.
And there's, just so you know, in case this comes up, we are also addressing this first talk tomorrow, is going to be kind of talking about a DC network as well, so we can get a little more focus on that and not have to do that. We can focus on this as a larger group.
Okay, so we're going to have next steps. We're going to have reporting out. What I would ask of these groups to get together is I would like a recorder in each group, someone that would be willing to either pull out their laptop and type it in. Jesse's offered to put this up on the website immediately when we get done with this, so we can start to, again, digitize everything, get everything in some format we can share. And then I would also like an actual report out, verbal report out from someone in the group that would be willing to share it with the larger group. We're not going to get all of this done probably by the 5 o'clock end time, which is actually, 4:45 end time, Jesse, which is definitely a hard deadline. I would like to end right around 4:45 so that you have a decent break and we respect the other speakers and let them get set up. So please pick a group. We've got a few over there. We've got the other groups here. One, why don't you jump around this table? 2, 3, 4. Since Dara, you're already sitting there, I'll make that 3, 4.